Wawanui! Welcome to the second half of 2026. If you are a fellow Lemurian, we are in the second half of 2026. And for absolutely everybody else that we went into 2026 on January 1st, Happy New Year. This will be my first live in the new year. And this motu for the Lemurian astrology is actually the hare, sign of the hare. It's been a minute. It's been one of those years that just kind of, well, this month for me at least, has grabbed me and then yanked me sideways. So what I plan to do on this one, I'm going to turn my comments off. What I'm planning to do is I'm going to do like what I did on my last live, which is I'm going to do the Lemurian astrology reading first. And then I'm going to go ahead and open the floor up, and we're going to do some energy work and just some open chat so that everybody can hop in, say hi and whatnot. And so to begin with, I'm going to get everybody here and on the replays, energetically speaking, on the same page. Now, my mentor, Huna Flash, used to call this the login. I like to call it the harmonization because we're harmonizing all of our energies. So let's get started. Hea Motu Jan, mahaka watahi it ingawa te to iri te otawana, waiua tapu kita. It ingawa ta whenui trarani kitau, waiua tapu kita. It ingawa te whaia ta matua te tama, waiua tapu kita. Hea Motu Jan. Okay, wonderful. So what I'm going to be using today is Izzy Ivy's Beyond Lemuria. This is the Oracle deck. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read through the 13 signs, and then I actually had not one but two cards that wanted to come out for the bottom of the deck. And so if for any reason you do not resonate with your card this week, you can use those as a substitute, or you can use them to amplify what you're doing. So, and again, I do have my comments turned off. So hello, welcome. But I'm going to get started on this just to focus. And then I'm going to open up my comment section so that we can chat. Okay, so to begin with, if you were born on any of the calendar months where your birth date itself is the 28th, no, been so long, the 29th, 30th, or 31st. You are what's called a Ma'ita, and those are the days that actually make up the 13th sign of the Lemurian calendar. Okay, so you're a Ma'ita, and the symbol for Ma'itas is the sign of the crystal. How appropriate. Ma'ita babies, you have home. So we're just kind of coming in mid-month for us. This is, as I said, it's been an unusual month for me. Just kind of adapting with the wild energies here. So this is for Ma'ita babies. So again, if your birthday is the 29th, 30th, or 31st of any of the months, this is your card. And I'm not positive. I'm going to try to get back into a groove of doing them weekly, but we may have to have this for the next 2 weeks or so. Every time I come on, the universe is like, no, we're doing this. So Ma'itas. Now, if you were born January 1st through the 28th, yours is a sign of Hea. This is the sign of the hare, and happy birthday to all of our Hea babies. Oh, golly. Yeah, it's been a minute. The essence for this one is endurance. And so what's going to happen is the light, the undistorted light from the central sun is coming through Sirius B, is the Stargate for us this month. And so it's beaming the essence of endurance for all of us onto the planet. And that helps to collapse those light distortions then. Oh, interesting. This is for Heas. You've got communication, co-creation. So reach out to your besties and start co-creating. Collaborations can be really off the charts for you. And again, happy birthday, Hea babies. Next, if you were born February 1st through the 28th, yours is a sign of Kirani. This is the sign of the hummingbird. And this is, the essence for this one is the tiny voice from heaven. Oh, Time for you to shine, little Tyrannies. Luminescence. February 1st through the 28th. And as I said, stick around because this is all going to be one big thing afterwards. We're going to launch into some energy work and chit-chats. Okay. Now, if you were born March 1st through the 28th, years is a sign of Honu. Honu is the sign of the sea turtle. The essence for this month is navigation. Oh, you have the Freedom card this week. Honus, spread those little wings. And I'm also hearing to listen for messages. You may actually be picking up some voice messages, audibles. You might hear things that will set you on a different path. Just for Honus. Okay, now if you were born April 1st through the 28th, years is a sign of Tuatara. This is a sign of the smiling gecko, and the essence for this month is the smile. Beautiful. You have harmonic flight this week, or the rest of the month. Depends on when universe will let me back on. And don't worry about it. If you have just stumbled onto this, or if it's been recommended to you, the timing is perfect. Just take what resonates with you. Okay. If you were born May 1st through the 28th, years is a sign of Totoroa. This is a sign of the albatross, and the essence for this month is determination. Well, that's fascinating. You have new blueprints. Totoroas. New blueprints. A lot going on in that card. Okay. If you were born June 1st through the 28th, I am a fellow wombat, and that's exactly what this is. Kopanui, sign of the wombat. And the essence of this month is the child, the womb, and creativity. Whoa. It kind of matches what's been going on. Fire. We have the Solaris Sublime. Kopanuis, sign of the wombat. Work with your fire essence. Also, this speaks to Tawahi, which is your solar plexus chakra. So, for instance, you might use more citrus in your diet, or you may integrate more lemony colors, yellowish. Now, if you were born July 1st through the 28th, yours is a sign of Kaka. This is the sign of the talking parrot. The essence of this month is the voice. Beautiful. You have the evolution card. See if I can get that in the frame. There we go. This is for our beautiful Kakas. Evolution. So you might be playing with meditations with DNA, mitochondria, ancestral stuff. Okay, if you were born August 1st through the 28th, yours is a sign of Fatura. This is a sign of the falcon. The essence for this month is purification. Oh, star seed elemental, which is really what we all are. Remember your roots and reach for the stars. Okay. Now, if you were born September 1st through the 28th, yours is the sign of Namu. Namu is the sign of the dove. The essence for this month is peace. Beautiful. Unfurling love. You have the heart chakra. This is for Namus. To go. Okay. Now, if you were born October 1st through the 28th, yours is a sign of Kirihi. This is the sign of the lamb, and the essence of this month is the truth. Wow. Yours is sacral chakra this week. Toy will be the Lemurian version. For our kitties. Okay. And then we have those who were born November 1st through the 28th. Yours is the sign of Kahuku. This is the sign of the butterfly. The essence for this month is transformation. Oh, beautiful. Star Seer. Some powerful cards this time through. November 1st through the 28th, Kahuku. And last but not least, if I have missed you, those that were born December 1st through the 28th, belated happy birthdays. And the Okapi is the sign for December 1st through the 28th. This is the forest giraffe. The sign of the forest giraffe is, the essence is light of father. Huh. And you have the stepping through card. So you, my lovely Okapis, you are in the in-between. You are stepping from one reality and into another, which right now is not a surprise. We're right in between the ages of Capricorn into, I think, the sign of Aquarius. And then we've also got, no, wait, it's the sign of Pisces going into the sign of Aquarius. And then also we are almost at the cusp of going from the lunar sign of the wood snake, and we're going to be moving into the Chinese lunar sign of the fire horse. So a lot of in-between energies right now. And of course, we try to be as graceful as we can as those energies are coming in and out. And then from the bottom of the deck, I actually had two cards come up from the Colette Baron Reed Animal Oracle deck. And so, again, if you didn't resonate with your card this week, you can use either one of these as a substitute, or you can use them as an amplifier. The first one is Bee Spirit. Now, this is for all signs. It says sweet results await. All of our results for all of our hard work. And the other one that fell out and wanted to be seen is Cow Spirit. Miracles are endless. So those were two power cards that wanted to come out. Wonderful. Okay, so now I have finished our Oracle card read for the week. And it might be the next 2 weeks. It depends on what the universe is doing. So now I'm going to be able to flip on my comment section and finally say hello to everybody. Hello, Karen Robinson. Hi, Gypsy JJ. How are we doing? Ni marana. Whoa, we have another Huna in the house. Manakori. Beautiful. Hi, I have a daughter that was born January 27th. Beautiful. So Gypsy JJ, she's going to be what's called a Hea, which is happy birthday, is this month. Oh, thank you, Gypsy JJ. Hi, Hypnicity. That's so sweet. Perfect timing. Perfect. Just drank orange juice for the first time in a while. Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Gypsy JJ is a Kaka, and Hypnicity is a fellow wombat. So we had the Solaris Sublime card this week. And we have Amanda Celeste. Hello. B here now. I know, it does, doesn't it? It does look like a Swiss cow. How now, brown cow? It looks a lot like our Jersey cows, too. We have a lot of Jersey cows that are just about an hour south of us with the Tillamook dairies. So, that's wonderful. Lori Huntzinger's here, says, I was thinking about you this morning. So, yeah, wonderful. It's been crazy this whole last month. I have been trying to get on here, and the universe has been either sabotaging my internet whenever I've tried to get on. Something has come up. We've been away from the home and all kinds of things. So it's been a little bonkers. Oh, okay. Hi and bye for Lori Huntzinger then. But yeah, behind the scenes. We've been doing a lot with the farm, and still going to be doing a lot with the farm. For anybody that didn't know, we've been shrinking our farm, so now we're down to the last. Oh no, my says we are in quarantine. Interesting. Had a measles outbreak. I came down with a souvenir cough / cold. It wasn't really a full proper cold though for me. It started off with a dry cough, and then I ended up with a lot of snot. In fact, you could probably still hear I'm a little snotty. So apologize to anybody that's listening to me and going, oh my God, what's up? What's up is I've been listening to a lot of my own live feeds behind the scenes and doing my own energy healing. But measles is no fun, and hopefully they will stay no sign of spreading. So hopefully that will break that, and that's just it. A lot of it is break the cycle. A lot of times it's just a matter of getting people apart, and they're able to get in there and deep clean things, no symptoms, being extra cautious, which is really a great idea. Very good idea. Better to err on the side. And so let me see here what I want to do. For anybody that's new to me, to begin with, I started off with quite a long time ago doing energy healing and energy balancing, and I've learned how to do hands-on shiatsu for horse and rider, and that focuses mostly on the meridians, which are rivers of energy that flow in and around the body. And so a lot of times when that gets out of balance, then you can end up with some different symptoms. And so they do mirror the organs, the major organs of the body, but this is in no way meant to treat, diagnose, heal, or whatever else medically. We're only dealing with the light body, the energy body. And so I'll be doing some energy moving around the bodies. And what I like to call it is either congestion or stagnant energy. And that's usually where the energy flow will slow down in and around the body. So like you can hear, I still have some congestion around the head. So that's stagnant energy around the head. And ironically, one of the patterns for that is on the lower back. So I'm going to be doing some balancing whenever we do the, well, let's just start off over here. And grief for Bobby. Oh, okay. That's a lot of lungs are connected to grief as well. And lungs also are connected to the large intestinal meridian. Let me see where I want to go here right quick. I think what I want to do is I want to go this way so that we can do the bubble technique first. Yeah. Okay, this will be perfect then. So what I'm going to do to begin with, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do some Lemurian coding first. Actually, let's go over here. So we're going to do some Lemurian coding. So for Gypsy JJ, your daughter, her sign is actually this sign right here. It is the sign of the hare. So I'm going to start off with some Lemurian light languaging first, and then I just simply call it technology because it knows what to do. And so we're going to start off with that. Hello, Janet DC. And then I'm going to go over into a bubble technique. And when I do the bubble technique, I'll talk us through it. And I'm also going to be doing some energy healing for that. Now, if you have any pets around, they're also going to be drawn to the light languaging, and they're going to be drawn to the meridian balancing that I'm doing because it's a universal balancing. It's going to be working for absolutely everybody. Okay, so here we go. Hea Motu Jan Mahaka watahi it ingwa te to irita o otawana. Wayu watabu kata. It ingwa ta finui trarani tikitao. Wayu watabu kata. It ingwa ta fayata matua te tama. Wayu watabu kata. Hea Motu Jan it I pe o ube il I ul o ep tana nu ma il I hakta doropa pote hitu makaki ma kaki ka naro hawa tu taki ma taki ka tai tu te hu upo. Okay, I'm hearing a whole bunch of that's so sweet. I got a whole room full of critters sitting by the computer screen. Lovely, lovely. Okay, I'm also hearing we're going to do another technique, and it's called Tukupenga Maui, which is the net of Maui, which is children of the heavens or children of the stars. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use that in conjunction with all of our chakra systems. And then what's going to happen is I'm also going to go through and I'm going to use the net of Maui on the days of our weeks. That way it'll help to kind of pull all of the gunk out. And the other thing that's really cool about the net is sometimes it can bring gifts in. So you may have your natural psychic gifts may actually be improved, or you may open one up if they're not already, if your clairs are not already open. Tukipenga Maui, Ma'ita, Tukipenga Maui, Wa'irua, Tukipenga Maui, Te Ariki, Tukipenga Maui, Maki, Tukipenga Maui, Tenaro, Tukipenga Maui, Tenira, Tukipenga Maui, Titama, Tukipenga Maui, Tiko, Tukipenga Maui, Matako, Tukipenga Maui, Tawahi, Tukipenga Maui, Toi, Tukipenga Maui, Muki Muki, Tukipenga Maui, Taro, Tukipenga Maui, Ma'ita, Ma'ita, Tukipenga Maui, Taro, Tukipenga Maui, Toi, Tukipenga Maui, Muki Muki, Tukipenga Maui, Tawahi, Tukipenga Maui, Tiko, Tukipenga Maui, Matako, Tukipenga Maui, Titama, Tukipenga Maui, Tinira, Tukipenga Maui, Tenaro, Tukipenga Maui, Maki, Tukipenga Maui, Te Reiki, Tukipenga Maui, Wa'irua, Tukipenga Maui, Ma'ita, Tukipenga Maui, Tukipenga Maui, Sa, Tukipenga Maui, Toho, Tukipenga Maui, Tika, Tukipenga Maui, Wi Paka, Tukipenga Maui, Maki, Tukipenga Maui, Rehu, Tukipenga Maui, Ta, Tukipenga Maui, Ta, Tukipenga Maui, Rehu, Tukipenga Maui, Maki, Tukipenga Maui, Wi Paka, Tukipenga Maui, Tika, Tukipenga Maui, Toho, Tukipenga Maui, Sa. There we go. Beautiful. We're just going to allow all of that to come back in. And so that is going to start working in the background on your upper and multidimensionality. And so what I'm going to do next is called the bubble technique. A lot of times whenever we are being push-pulled and we're in the world itself, we get pulled around a lot. Hey, Kat, lovely to see you in here. We've just finished with our Lemurian set, and I've just done the Kupenga Maui through a whole bunch of our days of the week, and I've done it through also our chakra system as well. So if you want to catch that on the replay, that'll be a lot of fun. And getting ready next to do the bubble technique. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and combine the energy healing and the clearing with the bubble technique. For people, what I need you to do is just gently look up towards the ceiling, or if you want, look at the spot that's in between your eyebrows, and then just gently close your eyes. And you're going to imagine a light coming from above. Let it be whatever color it wants to be, and this color can change. Whew. And let it bathe through the top of your head. Let it come down through the top of your head, bathing all through your forehead, your face, your eyes, all around your ears, bathing all the way down around your neck, jaw, teeth, mouth, tongue, bathing your gums, through your throat. Oh, feel it just coming all the way down through your throat. Turn up the volume. You're going to feel it bathing all the way down through your neck, each and every vertebrae being bathed by this color from above. Feel it flowing down through your shoulders, all through the shoulder blades, under the shoulder blades, tops of the shoulders, front of the neck, all around your collarbones. Now it's going to go all the way down your arms, both arms, down through the elbows, forearms, wrists, bathing your hands. Keep this volume of light turned up. and watch that light bathe off of your fingertips and into Mother Earth. Now keep that light going. See it cascading down through your lung space. Turn up that volume and just watch it power wash all the way through the space of your lungs, your heart. There's a sac that encases the heart that's called the pericardium. So just see this color washing all through that space, in and around any nooks and crevices. Feel it wash all the way through the diaphragm and into the tummy. Feel it cascading down your back at the same time, bathing all along your lumbars, down towards the hips, and feel it power washing through your tummy. A lot of times as humans, we love to store extra emotions into our tummy space because we've got a grab and go sort of a thing, so we don't process our emotions. We'll bite our tongue, won't say what we need to say. So we'll just power wash all that down. Beautiful. Okay. Now we're going to feel it going through the hips, tushy, all the way, power washing through the legs itself, down towards the knees. And sometimes you can have stagnant energies in your hips and knees because you feel like you can't go forward in the world. So it's just going to power wash all of that down ahead of it, power washing down through the ankles, calves, wash, 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 all the way through the feet. Feel it go through all the spaces between the toes, the metatarsals, your heel, arch, all the way through the toes, and feel that light just bathing all the way down and grounding into Mother Earth. Now keep that light from above going. And what we're going to have is Mother Earth is going to bring up an energy from below. Feel it bubbling up, and it's supportive and nurturing. And you're going to feel it bubble up through your feet, up through your toes. Keep that top light going now. Now the second light coming up from Mother Earth can be the same color, or it can be a different color altogether. Let it be whatever color it wants to be, because sometimes it can change. And we're going to feel that bubbling up through the ankles, up through your calves, up, 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 all the way through your knees. Feel it power washing and bubbling, bubbling, bubbling through the knees, behind the knees, inner knees. Good. Up through the thighs, into your lap, bathing all the way, bubbling, bubbling up through like little fizzy champagne bubbles or ginger ale, all the way through the hip area, bubbling up through the tummy area, into the diaphragm. Excuse me. Power washing up into the lung space, into the heart. Now around the heart, I want these two lights from above and below to meet and see them form a bubble. Now push that bubble out all the way around you. Let it be whatever size it wants to be. You'll feel it naturally snick into place, and pretend like you're stepping inside this bubble. It can be 3 feet, it can be 5 feet, it could even be 15 feet or more. You'll naturally feel it. So that it's just you and this higher energy from above and supportive energy from below filling this space. Now, if you can set this bubble before you start your day, and then anytime throughout the day, whenever you feel like you're being pulled off of your center, or you feel like somebody else's energy is intruding on yours, reset your bubble so that it's only you and this higher frequency coming in. And if you're empathic, you can set another color bubble around that one. And you can even do a third bubble if you're very sensitive. And if you're already knowing that you're an empathic type person, what I suggest doing is taking just a few minutes if you're about to go into a mall or say the post office or someplace where you know other people are coming in and you're empathic. And by that, I mean you pick up everybody else's stuff. It's not you. You may go in feeling happy and suddenly you're angry on aisle 3 of the grocery store and you have no clue why, and it's because you picked up somebody else's energy. So if you set this bubble technique, and the more that you practice this, the faster you will get, and then you stay in that higher energy flow, that will help you to stay in your own energy and keep in your own lane. So beautiful. Okay, and then we can come back into your body whenever you're ready. Wiggle your nose, wiggle your toes. If you've done any yawning, sneezing, coughing, burping, sometimes you can have tummy rumbles from this, because I did add energy as I was going through the bubble technique. It wasn't just the bubble technique we were doing. I was doing some energy work behind it. So if you've done any of those, go ahead and get yourself just a quick drink of water. Usually our animal friends will go ahead and do it naturally, but that will help to flush out any toxins that may have entered into your bloodstreams. Those are actual signs that I look for, especially whenever I'm doing my meridian balancing. And by now, everybody's probably fallen asleep. If you have drifted asleep, don't worry about it. What happened is your conscious mind needed to go offline, and so your energy can go ahead and get itself reset. So you didn't do anything wrong. You didn't miss out on anything. And in fact, sometimes it's better for you if you do go ahead and drift off for just a little bit and get rested and recharged. Because as I said, it allows your energy system to do the work that it needs to do. So we're going to go back one more slide. There we go. And I think I put everybody to sleep, which is not a bad thing. Well, if you're out there, can you tell me what color bubbles did you... Actually, let's just go over here for a second still. We'll stay with our bubbles. Anybody want to share what color bubbles you had today? My color lights from above was green, and then my underneath from Mother Earth was yellow today, which does not surprise me because I've still been fighting this cough cold thing. So those are very supportive colors for clearing things. Ooh, cat's bubble color was shimmer gold. Wow, that had to be gorgeous. Beautiful. Beautiful. And the colors can change. As I said, sometimes you can end up with different colors on different days or even different times. White from above, purple from below. Beautiful. Beautiful. Violet, white, gold. Gorgeous. Ooh, everybody's getting all these gorgeous colors. Sparkly white from above, green from below. Ooh, that's gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Yep. Well, you just enjoy your sleep, Amanda Celeste. Wow, white, gold, and green from below. How supportive. Beautiful. Absolutely. Green can show up for healing. Yellows and the gold colors are for energy and support, and can also be for abundance coming in as well. Yep, going back to sleep for a while. Beautiful. Thanks for joining us, Amanda. Yeah, that way it can be nice and soothing, and a lot of times you'll find that you'll have a much deeper sleep after this, and I'll be surprised if the animals aren't already kind of dozing. A lot of times you can play this if you've got like a feisty puppy or a kitten or something. You'll find if you play one of these lives, it'll calm them down, and they'll either zonk out for a nap, or at least they'll be a lot calmer. I've had people that have had skittish animals before, and they've played any of my stuff in the background, and their animals have calmed down, and they've been able to get over there to the food bowl and finally do some nibbling. Yeah, I love these shimmers. I think these were frozen bubbles, if I remember right. I think they went out to create this image. I think they went out and blew bubbles in negative degree temperatures to get this imagery. But like I said, the bubble color itself, it can change. So it's whatever the universe decides that needs to be brought in for that day for support. So sometimes if you're looking for earthly needs, it can come in as browns or tans. Golds can also come in to be supportive. But you can have different colors like reds, oranges, yellows come in, purples, or white. White contains every color. And so sometimes our chakra systems will just need a little bit of extra boost, a little extra support. And so that'll come in. And so we'll come back over here. And this is taken Lincoln City on the Oregon coast. It's the heart of the Oregon coast. Lincoln City is located on our 45th parallel. So if you look at any globe and you look at the 45th parallel where it meets the Pacific Ocean on the west coast of the US, that will be Lincoln City. And this image was taken of the old growth forest that is just to the north of Lincoln City. They were doing some road work there because our December storms broke the road, literally. So we were parked there for a while, and I was like, I happen to like these trees. So it's a beautiful light coming through the trees. Did I feel the earthquake? No, I didn't. I don't know of anybody that felt that earthquake, truthfully. It was a little unusual in where that location was. Normally, the earthquakes are further down or straight out from where I am, but not this time. And to be honest, I have been on the beach, and we have had higher tides and of course, the bigger waves because it's winter time, but I didn't see any tsunamis, and in fact, I didn't even see any tsunami warnings that got generated from it. It was just one of those, did you see? Different. You heard the land rumbling. You know, Hypnicity is next to Mount Rainier, and so it's been different. I think yours is going on. I think yours is going on a different. It's like it's doing a lot more rumblings up there. I think you're the amplifier for it than anything else. Aw. Okay, Gypsy JJ. Well, thank you so much for coming in, and big hugs to you. Yeah, go back to care for him. I'm glad you took time out to take care of yourself too. It's important. One of my gifts. One of your gifts of what? Hearing? Oh, hearing the land rumbling. Uh, okay, so you're not physically hearing it rumbling? I know prior to, I think it was in December, they were doing a lot of very small earthquakes, which is healthy, to be honest. I would rather see the Ring of Fire, which is the circle that's around the Pacific Ocean. I'd rather see that doing a lot of different little tiny earthquakes. Ooh, interesting. I will check in with my Seattle friends on the earthquake. I'm in St. Louis, so everything was quiet and snowy. Oh, you guys did get snow. Yeah, St. Louis has been really, all of the Midwest has been kind of in a strange, the upper half was cold and then the lower half was warm. Yeah, I want tiny releases instead of the explosion. Yeah, I hear the Mount Rainier is letting off the steam. That's a great thing, though. I like Janet DC is saying, the small releases is definitely the way to go because it's a lot like a pressure cooker. You want the little like the lid bouncing on a boiling pot of water. You want the little rattles going off instead of it being completely sealed and steamy and then building it up and then boom, we end up with a big mess. It's strange. I was listening to something the other night, and there was a discussion on Mount Rainier. Now, if I remember right, Mount Rainier is one of those places that have a lot of Bigfoot activity. The first Bigfoot the only Bigfoot that I have visibly seen was actually up near Mount St. Helens. And ironically, it was right after seeing the sign for Ape Cave. And I can remember at the time thinking, that is a really strange word up here, Ape Cave. And then, yeah, we had a Sasquatch go through. So I'm just wondering about all the portals and things that might be around Mount Rainier on top of all of the earthquake stuff. We had a small one here at night. This was Cat. Cat's up in Washington State as well. Woke me. Thought it was the dog. Oh no. Blame it on the dog. That's funny. Isn't that strange too? Because if you're standing or laying down, you can feel the earthquakes. But if you're sitting, you won't feel them unless they're a much stronger earthquake. But yeah, in my area, we were surprised whenever we got told about the one that was a 6.0 off the coast. And again, it was, I think that was down around Florence area. The Sasquatch wanted you to see him. Janet, he was, yeah, to begin with, let me reframe for my Sasquatch story. It's been a while. I had a dog grooming at the time, and so by the time that I had finished dog grooming that day, it was the end of our work week, and so hubby and I hopped in the car, and we headed straight up into Washington State just to take a drive. We were there in November, late November, so of course sunset comes much earlier in the Pacific Northwest, and so we were the only car on the road. It was a small vehicle, and the one that we saw, there was absolutely no mistaking him whatsoever. Right after I saw the sign for Ape Cave, and I was thinking, God, that's weird. Suddenly my hubby was braking because the way that the road was, there were like these two sides of the road. So it like came down this sharp drop of the hillside. And then you had road, and then you had sharp hillside going up on the other side of the road. And so this guy came out, definitely a teenager and arrogant, and that was just it. He was glaring at us the whole time that he walked down the hillside, across in front of us on the road, and then went straight up the other side. And I still say, it's a good thing that my band teacher had never seen it, because when we're taught to do that for the band practice, I don't know if anybody else has done this for marching band, but humans will do this maneuver where you go up and over your hip bone whenever you're walking, and you have to learn how to glide in order to prevent your music from having that weird bouncy sound whenever you're playing music and you're doing marching band. This guy, I swear to God, my marching band teacher would have played that thing on an absolute reel, because he glided. And I've had friends that said, oh no, you saw a bear. No, absolutely not. For one thing, he was right there. There was no mistaking. It was a teenage type male. Yeah, I'm not even going to say he was a young adult. That one was a teenager. And arrogant. I mean, he was just glaring at us, daring us. I was so happy whenever he left. But the important thing is, he couldn't have been a bear. For one thing, I mean, visibly, he absolutely was. I know exactly what I saw. He's freaking huge. Definitely not a bear. Absolutely a Sasquatch. Definitely a male. Definitely arrogant. Definitely a teenager. and on top of that, when a bear goes to walk, to begin with, they're not going to be going down such a steep hill on their hind legs. When they stand up, they will waddle from side to side if they're walking anywhere. A lot of times they'll do that in order to get a better view. Sometimes they'll do that because they're afraid. Especially you'll see the juveniles do that. But this thing, no. There's absolutely no mistaking. And yeah, he absolutely was a teenager, because that's exactly what he was doing. He was glaring at us, daring us. I can take you. And I got to be quite honest, he looked like he could easily hoist the whole car, plus me and my hubby, up over one shoulder and just boogie with us. So, but the other thing that a bear will do, as I was indicating, once he had crossed the road, there was a very steep incline. A bear would have naturally dropped to all fours to go up that incline and to run off. This guy never did. He never did. He went straight. He remained upright the whole time. I'm sure he went off and told his friends, about how he had scared off the enemy. And he'd be right. Because boy, once he had cleared the road, I'm like, go. We're leaving now, and I'm not ever. In fact, there was a little bit of an argument because hubby wanted to get, why do guys do this? He wants to get out of the car to have a better look at this thing. And I'm like, no, we're leaving now. Now. We're going to consider ourselves happy that we saw him, and that is that. But yeah, that was my first encounter with a Bigfoot or Sasquatch, and that was up in Washington State. But I have heard of others that have had encounters with them. There is a parking lot encounter that I remember, and it was also in the 90s, and that was Mount Rainier, where a guy had a date out there, and that one was coming running across the parking lot towards them whenever he managed to hop back into the pickup truck and get out of there quite quickly. So, but yeah, we absolutely have Sasquatch. I'm unsure as to the connections that they have potentially with portals that we have in the area. Some other people have connected them with UFOs. And interestingly enough, I have heard of, I think he was a researcher, but he was talking about the differences in the Sasquatch, because that's not, the Pacific Northwest is usually where we're classically hearing of them, but they're all over the U.S. I imagine that they're in plenty of other countries as well. But he was describing, he said, the further north that you get, you'll hear the Bigfoot stories become more, I wouldn't say angry, although they could be territorial, but they're more carnivorous based the higher north that they get. So you'll hear of some encounters and some territorial disputes further south, but the territory fights really increase big time the further north that you get. And of course, there's always differences. I mean, they're people just like we are people. So you have some that are surly and grumpy and or like this guy. I mean, he was definitely a teenager throwing down. It was ridiculous. But then you've got other stories too, where it's females and they've helped protect kids, or they've just had more peaceful interactions with people. To put everybody asleep again. Okay. Well, since everybody's kind of dozing off, how are we doing? So has anybody else up there had a Bigfoot experience up there? Sasquatch, wild man, that's the other one too, because there are wild men reports ranging anywhere from Texas. In fact, one of my uncles, that that was daunting. Oh, good. They could hear them. They were very vocal in Texas, so that's where he did. And then let me see, the Midwest, they can be also called the wild men or wild hairy men. There's reports of them in the Appalachians, and so just depending on what you're encountering, they can be Bigfoot. And in fact, the natives knew them as a people, as a tribe. Supposedly in the 1800s, there was a huge fight between the Bigfoot nation and, it's a scary cryptid thing that's called a dog bear man, or I think just simply dog man. But those tend to be very violent, and I got to be honest, could even be slightly the shade of demon. But those are quite different and not something that you want to encounter. And apparently, according to legend, according to the natives, there had been some scuffles that had been going on, and the Bigfoot Nation had finally had enough. And they said there was an almighty war that pushed from the beginnings of the Rocky Mountain Range through the Midwest, and they went to war with the dog bear man, and then they went and pushed them back all the way across the Mississippi region. So down in the Ozarks. There is actually, ironically, since you're in St. Louis, what was the name of that? House Springs was one of the first encounters that I had heard of with Bigfoot in the Midwest. And House Springs is just to the south of St. Louis itself. You wouldn't really expect it, but of course it is um, woody, and there is, of course, all of the waterways and everything. So a lot of natural food there. And it was an encounter where someone was doing dishes and they looked out the window and freaked because there was a big wild man staring back in at him. And the thing of it is, that individual did not have an imagination, was not prone to telling stories. It scared him deeply. And on top of that, the kitchen sink where he was washing the dishes at was 10 foot off the ground. So whatever that was staring through the window at him had to be 10 foot off the ground staring at him. So that means ergo Bigfoot. Um, so, they are absolutely everywhere. They're all over the place, truthfully. Anywhere that there is a wee bit of wooded area, especially if you've got, from what I've seen, they'll eat just about anything, but the primary thing is elk and deer. A lot of deer is their primary food sources, but they'll eat grubs. They'll eat just about anything we can get a hold of, truthfully. Yeah. I walk on a nature preserve every day, loads of trees and trails, but haven't seen anything, just wildlife. Well, wildlife is really cool. And yeah, that was back in 1970s, I think. 1970s or 1980s for that sighting. And it would have been the 1980s for the sighting or the hearing of them in Texas. But yeah, they're literally all over the place. But there's I don't know. There's just different. There are different energy portals at play in different spaces. One of the places that I used to hike to a lot when I was a teenager, we had something strange that would come and go, where our trail would um, it would sometimes have an extra bend in the road what we were walking on, and then other times that bend in the road would not be there. And so usually it was about a 10-15 minute walk. Hi Rush, how you doing? Wawa nui. But if that extra bend in the road showed up, it would add an extra 5 minutes to the walk. So it was quite different. And when the extra bend in the road would appear, um, we were extremely cautious. We made sure that we stayed on the road. We didn't go to the left. It was very specific. It was, and I got to be honest, there didn't seem to be a pattern to when it would appear. It would just sometimes be there, and sometimes it wouldn't. And I have no idea why. I mean, it was just another road, another walk path through normal woods. So yeah, when you see something yourself, you don't know. You don't. Yeah. Oh yeah, with the Bigfoot thing, absolutely. Well, and when that story was told to me of the wild man looking through the window, um, I was young. I think I was only about 8 years old, and so my mom, of course, was trying to see things over, keep things calm, and I was like, no, no, this guy, like I said, he wasn't trying to scare us just to scare us. He had no imagination, and he pointed out where the thing had to have been standing when it looked straight in at him. And that was the other thing. They had a German Shepherd, big boy, very stout, very sure of himself. And that was my first question: was what happened to Prince? And he said that dog never made a sound. He went into his home, into his house, and curled up, and he didn't come out till the next day. So that dog wanted nothing to do with whatever was at the window, which is extremely rare, because I mean he was not an over the top barker. He was a really good German Shepherd, very discriminate, and he wanted nothing to do with that. Not that I blame him. But yeah, I mean, if you know House Springs, I mean, that was back, like I said, in the 70s, 80s, and it was still very suburban, very, very wooded back then. And there's the springs. I mean, there's so much food there. There's fishing. There's deer that roam through there. And these are, not to be mean, these are big people. I was going to say animals, but no, they really are kind of people. And that's part of the reason why I don't think that you'll ever see them recognized as people as such, because how tricky is that? Um, when do you declare them to be a people? And if they are a people, then you've got to set aside a home space for them, a home territory for them. It gets very thorny very quickly. So I don't think that they'll ever really be formally recognized like they had been previously. But yeah, apparently the Native Americans knew to get out of the way whenever that fight was going on, because they were at war and they didn't want to be collateral damage. So yeah, oh yeah, that's just it. There's huge food sources there, very easy food sources. And the other thing about the Midwest, especially in that region, is you'll know in the summertime, the brush gets very thick. And so you could literally have something very large hidden right in front of you, and you wouldn't know, other than the smell. Um, the second encounter that I had was the worst smell ever. I knew it was there. I didn't get to see an actual sighting of that one because, to be quite blunt, I didn't want to see the sighting of that one. But that was here just behind where I live right now. And I was walking my horse down the road because it was a dead end road. And so we were just going out for a walk together. And it was an overwhelming stench. Now, I used to do dog grooming, and I haven't ever encountered anything that smelled that bad. And I have had dogs that have rolled in dead seals, and this was worse than that. And so, of course, my poor horse was nervous. So we turned around, started to walk back to the house, and it was up on the hillside over the top of us. And I think that one was a she, but they followed us along that ridge for a while, just parallel, and I kept between me and the horse, so that because Bigfoot tends to be not so kind to horses and not so kind to dogs. Dogs I can kind of understand because dogs tend to go after them. But yeah, well, no, this isn't an alien. Bigfoot. This one was definitely a Bigfoot. Oddly enough, even though I didn't directly see her, it seemed to be kind of a reddish blonde color. The first one I saw was black. That male was definitely black skin, black fur. But this female seemed to be more of a blonde. Um, and I'm not going to say alien. That one was definitely a Bigfoot. And that was just it. My poor horse was nervous. And I think the only thing that made her a little daunted was that he was wearing a blanket. And I think that threw her off a bit. And I think she was, more than anything, I didn't really feel huge danger from her, but there was a lot of curiosity. She was trying to figure out what he was. And basically I let him know, it's like, if the thing swings down from above, I'm going to let you go. You run off to the house because you've got four legs and there's no way I'm going to outrun this. So you run, I'll stand here and try to keep her from swooping on you. But thankfully she was curious and she just stayed up there. But it took days for me to get that smell out of my nose. It was terrible. And there have been reports, as Hypnicity saying, Dr. Gale talks about this. There are reports of some of the aliens, and they do smell like a corpse, probably because they are. I suspect that maybe there is some body takeover. But the Bigfoot, it's almost like what happens whenever you've got a person that hasn't bathed in a really long time, and then they add in some rotted smells on top of it. It was horrible. Really, 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 really stinky. But I wouldn't have really classed them as an alien. They seem to be beings that have been here, you know. And yeah. And the other thing, hypnicity is there are different beings. There are a lot of different races out there. So when we say aliens, that would be the same thing as saying all humans are like that. So it's easy to tar everybody with the same brush. Even the same thing with Bigfoots. So, oh, I know we smell to them, but we would probably smell more like prey. No, decomposing is not a hot smell. But my simple guess on that would be some version of body snatching, and potentially you could have different forms, different beings that could be doing that, animating a corpse. And the other thing, I don't have any real experience with that whatsoever, so I don't know about the veracity of it, but I have been told that the clones themselves, and cloning has been around for quite a while, but clones decompose. They don't tend to last as long as the originals do. So it is a potential that you have some sort of a being that is animating a body that is a clone, and perhaps the clone has passed, and the being that is animating that doesn't recognize that fact and is just continuing to animate the being. But yes, I've heard of people that have been in close contact with them, and it has been a very off-putting smell. And it's like this. Maybe we smell to them. I'm sure that we smell to them. It would be the same thing as if you were in a completely different culture. Um, let's say you were born and raised in Vietnam, and you went to, I don't know, random country, Germany. The smells, the food, the people are going to smell different. The food's going to smell different, completely different from what you're used to in Vietnam. So I'm sure it's the same thing for the aliens themselves. And as I said, a lot of that, depending on who you're dealing with, um, it is different for the situational awareness as to if they know if there is a problem, I guess, with their meat suit, for lack of another term. But there can be different things too, like I said. But no, most of the ones that I've heard for the Bigfoot, they, like I said, they tend to be territorial, which is understandable. I mean, if they're people just like a regular person, they're going to be definitely competing for territory, and primates especially, the males, they have had the most interactions, I think, simply because they're going to be the ones objecting the most to another male being in their territory. So some of the stuff, it almost reminds me of regular primate behavior. You know, um, if a male was to say go out and take a whiz on a tire in front of an orangutan or a gorilla, I'm sure that they would be running across the parking lot trying to do battle with the male human. I think it's very primal for the Bigfoot. But I have no doubts whatsoever that there's different varieties and different peoples, different agendas. And I know in my case, the one she was passing through, and in fact, for a few years, it was pretty consistent that she would come through in April, but she didn't really stay here, which doesn't surprise me. They're just following the food sources more than anything. And we have a lot of elk. So I'd be surprised if she wasn't just following the elk. And that's the other one too. We did have a lot of salmon. So if they weren't going for the elk, they could easily go for the salmon out here. And it's the same sort of a scenario in Missouri, or the Midwest, Texas. You'll see them a lot of times around the big rivers, um, Mississippi, of course, but also the bigger rivers that flow into. So you've got in Missouri, you would have things like the Merrimack, the Black, um, of course, any of the springs that happen around there. They're prime hunting spaces. So they would be following their food sources. And their food sources, of course, are going to be following the rivers and the streams. One of the things that I have heard of too, and it is a sound. In fact, I can't remember if it was called infrasound, but it's an extremely low frequency that Bigfoot emits, and it's very similar to the same growl that a jaguar can emit. And what that does is it paralyzes the food source. And so when you've got something like a Bigfoot moving through, they can emit that sound, and it makes everything really uncomfortable. In fact, one of the tips that there's something going on in the forest is if you hear all of the night sounds, crickets, frogs, birds, if you hear that suddenly go silent, stay still and just wait, because something's moving through. And it's terrifying. Paul, Wawanui, dude. Yeah, we've been at it. Oh, you've got snow. Cool. Oh no. How are you out skiing? Yeah, we've just been chit-chatting about Sasquatch for a while. Ow, though. Hopefully you didn't injure yourself going skiing. I know you were keen on it. Oh, good. Glad for that. How much snow did you end up with? So has Paul moved up to telekinesis? Oh, wow. 3 to 4 inches of snow. Is that new for Pennsylvania? Is that new, Paul? What can I do for a dog with dementia? Oh, baby. Uh-huh. Yeah. I don't know if you have seen it before, but I have a company that I sometimes post, and it's called Q-Link. And in fact, when I get off here, Karen, I'll just send you a direct link to those people, because I had a horse that had that problem where he was disconnecting from reality, and it was extremely dangerous. But once I put that tag on his fly mask, he was able to ground and come right back into his body. And it doesn't cost that much. And the cool thing is, once you've got it on their collar, she'll stay completely in there. Yeah. I highly recommend it. I know a lot of people look at that and think it's just junk. It's not. It's a placebo effect sort of a thing, but it isn't. Um, because as I said, animals don't lie. And I used it on my horse. And I got to be honest, it was getting really dire with him. So I was really glad that snapped him back in. And I think it had to do more with the EMF. We didn't have a ton of it, but apparently there was just enough of it there. And the other thing that I had with him that I think might be happening with her too is that he was comfortable. He was very safe. He was very secure. And I think because he was so secure in his surroundings, that it gave him a permission slip to kind of mentally check out a little bit, you know. And sometimes you'll see that with dogs. I've seen it before where if their body is giving them trouble, you know, they're hurting, then they will step out of their body a bit. I've seen that with some animals where they'll disconnect and they'll stay out of their body more because their body is failing them. And so they can't do the fun stuff that they want to do, but their soul is like, I want to go here. I want to go for walkies and things like that. But anyways, yeah, I think the Q-Link item is very beneficial, and it would certainly be worth it to see if it will help her. Mm-hmm. Oh, did I miss Brother Carl coming in? No, I don't see him, but I'm sure he will come later. But anybody that's coming in late or on the replay, if you go back to listen to the replay, we did quite a lot of Lemurian like technology today. And yeah, you're welcome. And like I said, I can resend that if you would like. But we did a lot of technologies today to kind of help ease up any congestion and to get you up onto a higher path. We did bubble technique today. And with the bubble technique, whenever I did that, we're bringing in light from above, light from below, meet in the middle in your heart space to form a bubble, and then make that bubble bigger all the way around your body, and then you step into it. And what I did was I combined the energy work. So behind the scenes, I was moving a ton of energy for the group and also for any of our animal friends as well as people. It was a universal clearing. So that's a good meridian balancing, energy balancing. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Golly, it seems like only yesterday that he was coming and hanging out with you. So let me see. My nephew Liam is going for his driving lessons on Thursday morning. He don't want me with him. I don't know why. That is fine. Sometimes whenever you are new to something, especially with the driving, I was that way whenever I was learning how to drive. Some people I was fine with being in the car. Other people, it freaked me out. It was like you tried to be perfect around them. And you're so, whenever you're older and you're established and everything with your driving, it's second nature because you've already done it enough. But when you're brand new, there is so much stuff that's going on that you're thinking ahead and where am I turning and how am I turning and where's my stuff at? So, it don't take it personally is all I'm trying to say. Give him time. When he gets comfortable, he'll have no problem with you being in the vehicle, but it's just going to take him time to, work with his body because it's muscle memory that he's building up. And so he'll be learning things like spatial distancing and how long is it going to take, timing for whenever the cars are moving around him. And then yeah, give them time. It's different for everybody. Some people, they may go dashing out there and they're fine, and then all of a sudden, it's like their brain completely undoes itself and can't remember anything, which is frustrating. But it's how the brain wires itself whenever it's learning. So sometimes you're straight out of the gate. I got it. I got it. I got it. And all of a sudden, you turn into a raging idiot within 2 weeks. Self. And it's like, what in the world just happened? It's the brain rewiring itself. And so for a time you have like this little bit of an amnesia and you feel like an absolute idiot, but it is the brain going ahead and rewiring itself in. Dreamweaver. So let me see. I have been away for a while. Absolutely. So I have a couple of questions. Absolutely. Fire away. And congratulations on your new puppy. Long time ago. I didn't pass it first. Took me 3 times. Wow. There you go. See, and I don't know. I think because we have this huge pressure on ourselves to be perfect, and it can be unrealistic. We learn in our own time, and sometimes it can take a lot longer to do things. Yeah. Absolutely. So, like I said, don't take it personally. He's just trying to do what he can do for himself yeah, that's just it. He's just 17. Give him space. If he feels safer with the driving instructor, that's cool. Because, he's got a lot of expectations that he places on himself that he wants to please you, that he wants to be perfect. So, this is just one less stressor for him. Do it. Am I back? Okay. Okay. Somehow I unmuted myself. or I muted myself. Okay, great. But yeah, it's basically, I think he's placing a lot more pressure on himself. Beautiful. Oh, okay. Am I back? Okay, I'm back. Okay, great. Let me see. Keishant lost a boy, bonded to. Is this puppy him come back to us? Very strange. Straight out of the gate, Dreamweaver, I'm picking up a female energy around that puppy. And a yellow color. Oh, very sweet. Oh, okay. So what I'm picking up is there's currently a female entity or female presence that's in that puppy. But one of the things is I can feel the other dog hovering around. So it is conceivable. I'm hearing a 2-month mark that the other one may come into the body to take over if desired, if wanted. But right now I'm picking up a female, kind of like a tanny color, tannish, yellowish energy field around her. So you might have had another, okay, so we had a female as well. That's the one that I'm picking up on right now, but I can feel that male presence. And so sometimes what happens is you can have a walk-in in the animal world as well. So it's even conceivable if it was really desired. If your husband really, really wanted it, he could walk back into that new puppy's body and take over as the soul. But right now, the soul that's in there is female entity. So Sadie had tan in her coat. So it could be very much that it was Sadie, and it didn't seem to be any angst, which doesn't surprise me because whenever they're babies, they will um, they'll be amenable. I mean, unless they're absolutely drilled down on they've got a specific purpose or something that they've got to be here. It felt like it was a not a problem if the other one wanted to come in. Oh, thank you, Paul. Okay. A lot of it's just going to depend on him. He was saying the 2-month mark. So if need be, it sounds like both puppies would be amenable to him stepping back into the new puppy's role and and going with that. But at the moment, it's the female that's in there. And I don't know what the gender of the pup is right now, um, but yeah. And he's not there in the puppy yet. He's standing there. But he was indicating 2. So I don't know if that means a 2-month mark or if they're splitting. Yeah, so he could come in as a 7-month-old. Well, the important thing, Paul, with Liam isn't a matter of if he'll pass or not. It's a matter of let him acquire the knowledge that he needs and the time frame that he needs. And it's not a matter of if he'll pass, it's a matter of when. It's a lot like whenever you've got a kid that's learning to walk. He'll pass. He'll do it. It's just a matter of if he is comfortable enough. Well, everybody's nervous about it, anyways. But have him practice. He needs to be comfortable with what he's doing, and then he also needs to study that test and study and study and study and study and study, and then he'll be able to do it. But he'll step into it when he's ready to do it. And that's the other thing. You don't want him just simply gaining his driver's license if he's not comfortable. And after he gets his driver's license, there may be a period of 6 to 8 months afterwards where he wants to just drive by himself because he's still gaining experience and doesn't want to endanger anybody else in the vehicle as he's gaining his experience. Dream Movers home. Hopefully that was helpful for you. So I would say at the moment, no, but it looks like within 2 months, or I'm hearing sooner if your hubby really, really needs him back. And the puppy is amenable to having that walk-in happen, but it would be a walk-in. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's interesting. If he needs it, actually, if you want, hang on a second and I'll just see if I can tap into the puppy situation right quick and just simply go ahead and indicate to Shaba. Shaba is the one that you're wanting in there, right? Let me just double check before I hop in here and do this. So your hubby needs him back in there. Keishans are an excellent choice for that too. They tend to be very sensitive. Huh, now that's interesting. I'm hearing a not yet. Yeah, Shaba, okay. Okay. Looks like we've got an amenable situation. Both puppies are still going to work it out. That might be where the two comes from as well. It might be that he has two spirits in him for the time being, but there's going to be enough indications of Shaba coming through for your hubby. So go ahead and start. He's only 5 months old, so I would say don't entirely depend on him like you did the original support service dog, because puppies will go through a fear phase for a while as they're growing up. So maybe not the same level of support as what would be there as an adult dog. Nico's not wanting to potty train. I'm getting just a scattered baby. And confusing smells is what he's saying. Janet, I'll be with you in just a second with yours. Yeah, I'm getting confusing smells, doesn't know where to go. So what you might do is there is a product that is called, let me think. It just ran right out of my head, like the puppy just did. Bye Bye Odor. And that is from Spalding Labs. Although I'm sure you can find a similar thing, but Bye Bye Odor is Spalding Labs. What it does is it's an enzyme that does not mask the smell. It actually goes in, and it's an enzyme that breaks down the urine smell and the potty smells so that it is a little clearer for him what you need. The other thing you can do is spray anywhere that you don't want him. Oh, and test the color, because if you're spraying it on a carpet, it may discolor something, or fabrics. But drill down a little bit more on your potty training. When they wake up, you got to go outside. When they eat, usually afterwards, although sometimes they can do it before. But get yourself on a routine with that little guy, and you just basically got to be over the top. It's not forever. They will potty train, okay? But it's going to be up to you to remove those smells. So that's what he was saying. He was saying it was confusing to him. He's not sure where his nose is supposed to be taking him, is confusing him for the appropriate place. Yeah. And then you can use the Bye Bye Odor. A little goes a long way with that. And that will help to break down the smells in the places that you're not wanting him to potty. Okay, so let me see here, Janet DC. My Bubs is often constipated. Oh, honey, fights the medication. Can you tell him I am trying to? He needs to eat and drink the wet food rather than dry. He's indicating the water is stale for some reason. And you might just go ahead and switch him over to wet foods. There's a lot of different varieties that you can use. So there is water fountains. Janet DC. Sometimes it can be a little daunting to the kitty cats. The most simple one that I've seen for some people is to just leave your faucet on a dribble, and that's fresh water that they can get into. But that was the first thing that he said is the water is stale. Oh, honey, we're just gonna let me just go ahead and work on his tummy a little bit. Sometimes it's moving water that they need. Aw, your sister's funny. Okay, I'll train. Janet, if you can, there are little units. Chewy.com probably has them, but there are little units where they're filtered water and it looks like a water fountain. That might be helpful. And as I said, some people will just drip the water. Um, a lot of it's just going to depend on him. It could be worse. I had one cat whenever I was in childhood, and his favorite thing was to drink out of the toilet. So he thought that was fresher than the bowl of water that was being given every single day. Your sister's funny. And at the moment, I'm working on his tummy. And what I would do in the meantime is switch him over to just a wet food. He's super picky, will take the moisture, but will not eat the food. Oh, he's one of those. Oh no. I'm so sorry. Huh. Doesn't like it. Okay, hang on a minute. See. Ooh. Does he like fish at all? I heard tuna fish. Yeah, his tummy is really dry. And sometimes oils will help whenever they are constipated. Open a can of regular tuna fish and let him lick the oil off of that. Or what you can do too is open the can and then take the lid and then just dribble the lid off. He likes his brother's dry food, the urinary prescription diet. Is there any way that you could maybe dribble some oil or something over the food? Because oil will help to hold the hydration in the body. I haven't tried tuna. You might give it a try just to see if that's something that he'll go for. And I can't remember the name of it, but there was a different brand. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but basically they were tiny little portions and they had a whole bunch of different flavors to them. And it's conceivable that you could just dial through and see if there's some flavor that he will like. And I gotta admit, with my boy at the very last, I ended up having to swap him every day just to see what he could stomach, because his temperament was just he was end of life, and so his flavor buds were really changing. But yeah, if he likes the dry food, maybe take the urinary prescription diet and then just, like I said, soak it in a little bit of oil just to see if you can keep him hydrated. Yeah, and he won't eat it. It's worth a try. My first thought was to just take some, human grade tuna fish and, like I said, open the can, but then put the lid over the top of it and then just dribble the oil off and see if that's something that he'll want. Salmon would be another variation that you could try. Different brands, and he won't eat them. That's really tough too. What you can do is donate food that he won't touch. And it is really tough. It gets expensive really, really quickly. Cool. Oh, and the other thing you can check is if you go to the store. I don't. It just depends on the store. Some of the stores, some of the food types, they will have sample packs that you can try. So you might even just ask one of the employees. It's like, hey, I've got this going on. I'm still attempting to find what's going to work for him and see if they'll have any samples. They'll either have samples or they won't. Sometimes the vets will have sample packs that you can try on them as well. But yeah, I've worked on his tummy. And yeah, he does feel very, very dry. But those would be my tips for that. And yeah, tuna is great for dogs and cats. Yep. It makes a really nice palate cleanser. And sometimes it's really nice to be able to rotate the different flavors. You've got different choices that you can do. You are so welcome. Yeah. Yeah, I've been working with his tummy pretty much this whole time. So anybody else that was tapped into that, if you end up with tummy gurgles or whatever, it wouldn't surprise me because it was, again, a universal thing. And best of luck. He seems like a real lover. Sometimes they're so finicky, though. Aw, happy to have you here, Paul. It's very nice to see everybody again. As I was saying earlier, it's been kind of a really crazy time over here. So I've had so many times that I have tried to get on and have been derailed. Yep, tummy is gurgling here. Yep. Oh, yep. He's very sweet. Won't eat the food if it sits out for let me guess, even an hour. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of that goes back to cats are carnivores. And so a lot of times they're not like a dog. So they want fresh, fresh, fresh. Um, so it's not really surprising that they can be sometimes really picky. Dogs tend to be omnivores. They'll snatch snatch anything off the ground. Oh, wow. Well, if you know what you like and you like what you know, that's pretty much it. Well, my guess would be to just go ahead and stick with what he's eating, what he's actually eating, and seeing if you can just go ahead and dribble a little bit of extra oil over that. And yeah, keep the dribble going in one of the sinks. Actually, just see if he drinks from the dribble in a sink. And if he does, great, there's part of your battle. And then you can certainly try the water fountain. But he keeps saying that the water's stale, which is why he's not touching it. And you'll see in some of the water fountains, they'll have different filtration systems. They'll have like charcoals, or some of them even have like a UV light, so which is really nice. Um, but that can definitely be, some of the cats are really drawn to moving water instead of it just being in a bowl. Oh no! Oh, I wish. Well, I didn't win the big one. No, no, no. I had to sell part of my farm in December, and it's still a work in progress. We're still trying to maintain the home itself. So, but no, it's been kind of crazy because every time that I have tried to come on here, I have had it's been a roller coaster. And I don't like to talk too much about it because everybody's got their thing going on. But yeah, it's I have tried to come on several times, and it's been crazy. I've been a lot on the go behind the scenes. So, Janet DC, it's not so much that. I mean, some cats are just that picky. Like I said, the the one childhood cat that I had, and he was a tuxedo as well. Maybe it's a quirk with tuxedos. Um, he would drink from the toilet because he considered the toilet water to be fresher than the bowl of water that my mom cleaned daily and filled, and it was fresh, and it was the same, you know, temperature and everything. I mean, it's cold, so it's just crazy. But yeah, I mean, some cats don't care. Like the last cat that I had one of those half-gallon dispensers that they use for dogs, and he was quite happy to drink out of that. Had no problem drinking from it. But I've seen other cats, like I said, that just flat won't refuse unless it was a specific temperature or a specific flavor, or it was moving or it wasn't moving. I mean, it's just sometimes it's a little difficult to get sorted. Yeah, it might be your. I don't know how cheap it's going to be, but it might be a cheap solution until you can get a hold of a water filter. Would be my guess. One of those little kitty fountains. I think Chewy has them, but Amazon might have them as well. I haven't looked in a long time, but I do know also for those that have urinary tract infections, that's very helpful. And yeah, like I said, for myself, it's just been in the new year. Hopefully, I'll be able to get things sorted so that I can get bit back on a more of a weekly type um, schedule for over here. It's just been bonkers behind the scenes. I mean, I plan something and the universe just laughs and goes, "No, you're going over here today." Oh, well, away we go. And it has been interesting to me because a lot of a lot of things have been moving behind the scenes. I've done a lot more traveling than I have in years. Uh, so it's an adjustment period, and it's not too surprising because we are still in the energy of the wood snake, and that is out with the old, in with the new. I have had a lot of friends and family that have had pets and people that are leaving. And at the same time, I've had other friends and family that have new pets that are coming in, babies being born, marriages breaking up, things changing. So it's part of, like I said, earlier, the energy of going from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius, and at the same time, we're changing from the year of the wood snake, and the focus of that is to shed off what no longer fits. So you have to calm down a bit, go a little more internal, and decide, okay, is this still working for me? Is this a relationship that I want to go forward with? Is this, is it time to let that go to have space for something new? And yeah, to see, I'm hoping that it will settle as well. It's just a matter of stepping into the new. Things are changing behind the scenes quite a lot, so I'm hopeful that I can get a little bit more on a even keel, a little steadier. So yeah, but yeah, a lot of it is behind the scenes has been go. I've done a lot more driving than I have in a years, actually. So packing a lot more in the days than what I have been. But yeah, still have a fence that needs to be moved. That's a work in progress. So, and of course, I got a souvenir at the beginning of the year. I got a snot cold, which was always fun. And I was like, well, nobody's going to really listen to me hacking and coughing in their ears. So, but yeah, doing the energy work definitely helps. And like I was telling everybody else, behind the scenes, I was actually going back through listening to some of my live replays simply because it's easier for me to work on my own energy system whenever I'm down and out. It's just kind of nice to play it in the background and have the energy already on there that's doing the work. And if you're new or if you're coming in late, the energy that I did for the energy clearings on this and the other ones, they are timeless. So you can come back in, you can replay that as many times as you need. In fact, Janet DC, you might come back in where I start working with your boy in the tummy if he gets constipated. You can certainly come back to that and play that part over for him. And you don't have to have them right next to your phone or your computer. They can actually be in another part of the house because it's a quantum mechanics that's going on. So it doesn't have to be played very loud. You can play it on a low volume. You can put it on a repeat, and it's timeless. So, ooh, Gorgeous. So Lillian has been painting Venus, the hills, the mountains. Wow, that's beautiful. So she's at it again, huh? Oh, wow, she's got an easel. Nice. So she's been drawn to Venus. Yes, absolutely. And I definitely would over and over. Yeah. And of course, if you can get him into his vet if he needs it, because sometimes they'll be able to get in there and treat them for the constipation and get that cleared out because it's terribly uncomfortable. You are so welcome, Jules. Lovely to see you again. Let me see. Venus. So we've got Venus twice. I know we have two Ahi. I'm just checking my Stargates because Venus is used twice. Venus in the morning, and that is to Ahi, and that is for the October babies. So that's Kivihi. And then you will also have, there we go, Venus in the evening is coming up because that will be for Tirani, and that is Tupo. Oh, yeah. Oh, I am so, so sorry. Oh, poor baby. hmm Yeah, I really think switching up the water source, but also adding the oil in for his diet will help because it helps to rehydrate the tissues. And oil is definitely helpful for the tummy. Don't go overboard. He doesn't need a gallon of it, but just doing the drippings will be helpful. Sometimes even bacon grease will help, but I would try the tuna oil first. Yeah, so with Lillian, is she painting like morning star or evening star for Venus? Sounds like she's got a real connection going on with Venus. And Nikola Tesla, he had a very strong connection to the Venusians. Oh, beautiful. She's standing in front of the window at night, looking to the moon off and on. I don't tend to look very much at the moon. It's a little weird to me anymore. It's been strange. I don't know. Our moon over here has just been really bonkers for years. I mean, it goes in different directions, like night after night. Oh, yeah, Janet. Yeah, what I would do is just go ahead and get him a can of tuna fish, and make sure that it is packed in oil, which is natural. Um, but yeah, try that first. Sometimes you can do salmon as well. But the important thing to remember is cats are absolutely carnivores. And so I think just a little bit of the oil will be helpful for him. Beautiful. Now, is that the moon that she thinks is warm or Venus itself? Oh, wow. She'll stand with the window open. Let me guess, you're freezing, right? Because it's wintertime. Yeah. The moon. Oh, she thinks the moon is warm. That's interesting. Sounds like she's making a connection in there. Fascinating. Hmm. Sounds beautiful. You leave the room. Yeah. Well, that's one too. If you leave the room, you can close the door. You can also put like a rolled up towel, like a just a bath towel, on the floor. And what that'll do is that'll seal in the cold, and keep it from going into the house. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't expect that. It's just because I don't know who watches my stuff, and sometimes I have people and they have really good intentions. But the biology of the animal has to come first. And so with cats, they absolutely 100% are carnivores. And so I've seen people that have wanted them to be a vegetarian, and it's like they're not a human. They're not an omnivore. Um, so it's not a good idea. I mean, if you want a vegan or a vegetarian pet, and not you, Janet, all I'm saying is if you want something that's going to be matching your vegan or vegetarian diet, get yourself a rabbit, because that way you're in alignment with what you're doing and you're not stressing out your animals. It gets cold. She does a lot with Venus. That's beautiful. A test. I wouldn't say that they're giving her a test, Paul. What I would say is she's making a very deep connection, and a lot of that has to do with timing. And so she could be getting a lot of activations and downloads from looking at the moon and Venus. Um, as long as she's not coming down with a cold, and as long as she's not feeling distressed or anything like that, let her do what she needs to do. Close the door, and like I said, you can just put a bath towel out there at the bottom of the door to prevent the cold from going into the rest of the home. And you might also seal off any register that you have in there, just for while she's got the window and everything open. Because I know in the wintertime it does get cold, but that would help to keep you from having to heat the outside, which can be expensive. Yeah. And Venus is right beside the moon. Yeah, so there's a very strong connection. And my guess is that she's not getting a test, she's getting activations. And they're probably reminding her um, of what I don't know. It could be that she's getting soul memories of Star Nation families where she came from originally. Um, and they could be preparing her for, the energy upgrades that are happening. I know for myself, I went through a ton of energy upgrades from 2021 going forward. Yeah, so she's getting upgraded, and a lot of it's just going to be on what Lillian thinks. I mean, if she's talking about, if she sometimes you can, if you're focused on a star or the moon, you can hear conversations. You can get the telepathy from the people. And sometimes you will be getting the upgrades and you won't know physically what's happening. You won't have a specific messaging or anything. Try not to just get distressed or stressed out over it. It's still going to be working on your energy system, and it will be upgrading what is needed. But yeah, if she's not cold, I wouldn't worry about it at all. She's just getting her downloads. The planet musics, yeah. There are a lot of, you can hear them. Sometimes there are recordings from NASA from the planets, and other times there are people that can hear the planetary music themselves. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's quite a connection. Oh, and the other thing is, don't be distressed if your spouse or family member can hear, or your friends can hear things that you don't, because that may not be your own home planet, that may not be your own home connection, and or it could be that is the timing is just not right. So you may be receiving your own in your own time. I tell her to turn it off, and she tells me to get lost. Yeah, back off, bud. That's funny. Well, it's hard to say. You might be drawn to something else, planet Mars, or maybe music from the central sun. Actually, yours probably would be connected more to the central sun, because yours, Paul, you're a Maita. And so that's exactly where that is the central sun. So I leave. Go do something constructive. Yeah. 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 That's one of the activations that I used to do. It came in is sometimes we have contracts, soul contracts with our former lives, I guess you could say. But we'll come from different planets or have different star nation families representing us, and you can have just one, or you can have multiples. You can have Lyrans, you can have the Orions, you can have Sirius. You can have Arcturans. So does this go on for a long time with her? It'll depend on her. Not to be alarming, but for myself, night after night, year after year for me. It's finally tapered off after about 4 or 5 years. So it could go on for her. In my case, I wasn't throwing open a window. I would sit and watch the skies. But for my case, most of it was while I was asleep, and the light flashes and the energy upgrades would be happening while I was attempting to sleep. And of course, the higher dimensional beings are like, oh no, go back to sleep. I was like, well, I was asleep until you came in here and started monkeying with my energy system. Now I feel like I've gotten jolted by a car battery, and you're wanting me to sleep through this. She loves the window. Oh, that's gorgeous. Yeah. How beautiful. Well, and like I said, maybe you'll find you're drawn to Arcturus or the planet Mars or Jupiter. Um, the central sun is found in the constellation of the Pleiades, which is visible right now. It's called the Seven Sisters, and that's in the constellation of Taurus. Aldebaran is one of the large stars that's in the constellation of Taurus. So if you were to look at Orion in the night sky, and that's the 3 dots for the belt, go to the right-hand side. It'll be the first large reddish-orange star is called Aldebaran from the 3 dots. And then there is all those cluster of planets. That's the Pleiades. That is the central sun is located in that star constellation. And yeah, there are a lot of planets. Some people will be drawn to Andromeda. And you can be more than one star nation. Sometimes it's helpful to go through activations. It's easier if it's more natural like that. She's clearly being drawn to that. So that's just a natural upgrade, an activation that's happening for her. But sometimes you'll find you could be drawn to images, stars. I didn't know it for the longest time. I had been, I wouldn't say obsessed, but I had noticed the other day whenever I started looking back over my life, I had times whenever the Southern Cross would pop up. And that is a star constellation in the Southern Hemisphere. And I didn't think too much of it. It's just I noticed it as a cross section whenever I was thinking back as a teenager or and a young adult. And the Southern Cross was one of those constellations that kept popping up for me. And yet the Southern Cross, the Crew constellation, come to find out, Tona, and that is the Southern Cross. That's the Stargate for my Lemurian stars, my astrology birth sign. That is the Southern Cross is the Stargate for Kopanuis, which is the sign of the wombat. So it's just fascinating to me that some of the things that are popping up, they've been there as a silent presence or an activation the whole way along. So I have always been drawn to Orion and the Seven Sisters, and I live in an area that is gorgeous, beautiful. Yeah, and that's just it too. Stargazing, you can get a lot of activations and downloads from stargazing. And you may have images come through. You may hear different things, different messages. You may start to be drawn towards doing different things. And it can be downloads from the stars themselves. And in some cases, you can just sit there and enjoy them, and you never really know what the upgrades will be. And the upgrades that happened to me, oh my word, they lasted for years. I mean, at one point, the beings were attaching wings of all things to my shoulders. So bonkers. It's like, okay, cool. I have wings now. That's neat. Not that it did anything in the 3D world, but it was still pretty wild. And that's the other thing too, areas. You can be drawn to different areas as well. So you may be drawn to, say, the Rocky Mountains, or like Paul's in Pennsylvania, you might be drawn to the Three Rivers area, or other people might want to go on a trip to Uluru, or might want to visit a specific place in Scotland or Norway. I mean, there's a whole bunch of areas that when you get to that spot, they can activate you. So, yeah, she would love a trip to Venus. Someday you will. My guess is in her sleep, she probably already does. Yeah, could be. Why not? But yeah, if she wanted to look into it, Nikola Tesla he had connections to Venus. And I'm not talking the cars, anybody that's just sitting there listening. I'm talking the actual inventor, Nikola Tesla. That man was amazing. He's the reason that we have the electro hydro dam at Niagara Falls that feeds and powers New York City's power grid. He's the one that invented that. And he was also the one that created Wardenclyffe. Yeah. And the Tesla coils and vortex math. And there's all kinds of things. He was just a really interesting individual. Yeah. Saw that 5 times. Yeah, it's incredible. I don't remember which town it was, but apparently in the late 1800s, he even went out as far as British Columbia to sell one of his machines. And apparently to this day, it's been running. I mean, they bought it from Nikola Tesla as a traveling salesman and implemented it for this Canadian town in British Columbia. And that's what powers that town. It's a small town, but still, it's been going since the 1800s. And what an amazing purchase. He was he was an incredible man. But yeah, I distinctly remember him talking about his Venusian connections. So, okay, gang, I'm going to go ahead, and we're about to reach the 2-hour mark, incredibly so. So I'm going to be wrapping this one up, and I'm hopeful that I will be able to go onto a more normal schedule. But again, I'm not sure when. So if I don't see you for a little bit, hang in there, and hopefully I will be back. But yes, have a great week, everybody. And thank you so, so much for coming in and chatting with me and hanging out with me. And again, there was a lot of energy. I'm hoping so, Paul. I'm going to try to be a little bit more consistent, a little more regular. But if you would like, we did a lot of energy stuff at the beginning of this, and you will hear a lot of Lemurian light languaging, a lot of technology that's being used. And so it's always active on the replay. Wonderful to see everybody. To recap, we talked a little bit about Sasquatch, aliens. I don't think we did too much with the UFOs. We have talked about the Venusians today. So there's been a lot chucked into this. And any of the energies that's on here is absolutely active for the replays. So, wawa nui, everybody. Much love to everybody. Bye.